The phone rang at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, jolting me awake from a restless sleep. My wife had been at a healthcare administration conference in Chicago for 3 days, and I'd grown accustomed to the empty side of the bed. But calls this late were never good news. "Hello." My voice came out rough with sleep. "Good evening, sir. This is Robert Chen. I'm the head of security at the Lexington Grand Hotel. Am I speaking with David Matthews?" My heart lurched. "Yes, that's me. Is my wife all right? Is she hurt?" "Your wife is physically fine, sir. However, I'm calling because we've identified a serious security concern involving her room, number 1847. Our surveillance systems have flagged multiple unauthorized visitors entering and exiting over the past 3 nights. I sat up, fully awake now. "What do you mean, unauthorized visitors?" "Male visitors, sir. Different individuals each night. Our facial recognition software indicates none of them are registered guests or conference attendees. They've been using the service elevator to avoid the main lobby cameras, but our comprehensive system caught them." My stomach dropped. That's impossible. My wife is there for a conference. She's probably just networking with colleagues. "At 2 and 3 in the morning, sir." His tone was professional but skeptical. "I've been in hotel security for 17 years. The patterns we're observing are consistent with activities that violate our guest conduct policies. More concerning, it may constitute grounds for breach of the professional event agreement your wife's company signed with us." I couldn't breathe. "Are you absolutely certain it's her room?" "Yes, sir. The keycard access logs are definitive. I'm calling you because our protocol requires we notify the registered emergency contact before involving law enforcement or the conference organizers. Given the nature of the situation, I thought you'd prefer to handle this discreetly." My hands were shaking. "I'm in Seattle. I can catch the red-eye and be there by morning." "That would be advisable, sir. I'll be on duty until 8 a.m. Ask for me at the security office when you arrive. And Mr. Matthews? I recommend not calling your wife to inform her you're coming. In situations like these, the element of surprise often reveals the truth more clearly than confrontation over the phone." After he hung up, I sat in the darkness, my mind racing. We'd been married for 8 years. 8 years of what I thought was a solid partnership. She was a hospital administrator, dedicated to her career, always professional. The idea that she could be, what? Having affairs? Meeting men in her hotel room in the middle of the night? I booked the 1:30 a.m. flight to Chicago, my fingers fumbling over my phone screen. Part of me wanted to call her, to demand an explanation. But the security chief's words echoed in my mind. The element of surprise reveals the truth. The flight was torture. I couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. I kept replaying our last conversation before she left. She'd been excited about the conference, talking about panel discussions and networking opportunities. She'd kissed me goodbye at the airport, promised to call every night. And she had called, sweet, normal conversations about boring conference sessions and overpriced hotel food. Had all of it been lies? I landed at O'Hare at 6:42 a.m. Chicago time, my eyes gritty from lack of sleep, my stomach churning with anxiety and anger. The Uber ride to the Lexington Grand took 40 minutes through morning traffic. Every minute felt like an hour. The hotel was a gleaming tower of glass and steel in the heart of downtown. I pushed through the revolving doors into a lobby that reeked of wealth and discretion, exactly the kind of place where secrets could be kept. The security office was tucked discreetly behind the concierge desk. I gave my name to the desk clerk, and within minutes, a tall man in a dark suit appeared. "Mr. Matthews." He extended his hand. "Robert Chen. Thank you for coming so quickly. I think you'll want to see what we've documented." He led me down a corridor to a small office filled with monitors. My heart hammered against my ribs as he pulled up a chair for me. "Before I show you this," he said quietly, "I want you to understand that what you're about to see may be distressing. Do you need a moment?" I shook my head, unable to speak. He nodded and pressed play on the first video file. The timestamp on the video read 1:47 a.m. from the previous night. The angle showed a hallway on the 18th floor, the camera positioned to capture the elevator bank and the doors leading to rooms 1840 through 1850. The footage was remarkably clear, no grainy, indistinct images. Every detail was sharp under the hallway's soft lighting. At 1:51 a.m., the service elevator doors opened. A man stepped out, mid-30s, athletic build, wearing jeans and a leather jacket. He looked both ways down the corridor, then walked with purpose to room 1847. He knocked softly, a specific pattern. 3 quick raps, pause, 2 more. 10 seconds later, the door opened. My wife stood in the doorway wearing a black silk robe I'd never seen before. She smiled at him, not a polite smile, but something intimate, knowing. She stepped aside, he entered, and the door closed behind them. "Keep watching," Chen said quietly. He fast-forwarded. At 3:23 a.m., the door opened again. The same man emerged, now looking disheveled, tucking in his shirt. My wife appeared behind him, saying something I couldn't hear. He turned, kissed her cheek, and she laughed, actually laughed, before closing the door. "There are 2 more from previous nights," Chen said, pulling up another file. "This one is from Sunday evening. Different man, same pattern. This one was older, maybe 45, wearing business casual attire. Same knock pattern. Same intimate greeting. He stayed until 2:47 a.m. The third video, from Monday night, showed yet another man, younger this time, couldn't have been more than 25. Dark hair, expensive watch catching the light. He'd stayed the longest, not leaving until 4:15 a.m. I sat frozen, watching my marriage dissolve frame by frame on a security monitor. Chen mercifully pressed pause. "I've seen a lot in this job," he said, his voice gentler now. "Infidelity, unfortunately, isn't uncommon in hotels. But this pattern is different. The specific knock, the different men, the timing, it's organized. Deliberate." "What are you saying?" My voice sounded hollow, distant. "I'm saying this isn't a spontaneous affair. This is planned, systematic. And there's more you should know." He pulled up a different screen, showing what looked like a guest manifest. "These men, we ran their faces through our system. None of them are staying here. None of them have any legitimate business in this hotel. Then how did they get up to the 18th floor without being stopped? Service elevator doesn't require a keycard from the parking garage. It's a security flaw we're addressing. But they knew about it. Someone told them exactly how to access your wife's floor without being seen by front desk staff." My hands clenched into fists. "Where is she now?" Chen glanced at his watch. "Conference sessions start at 9. It's 7:30 now. She's probably in her room getting ready. I want to confront her." "I understand, sir. But may I make a suggestion?" He leaned back in his chair. "Your wife is here representing Cascade Regional Medical Center, correct? They're one of our partner institutions. This conference is specifically for healthcare administrators, and they've signed a professional conduct agreement with us. So what your wife is doing violates that agreement. It also potentially violates her employment contract's ethics clause. Before you confront her personally, you might consider what you want the outcome to be. Because once you knock on that door, there's no taking it back." I thought about my wife's career, the one she'd built over 15 years, the one she was so proud of. The one that apparently meant so little to her that she'd risk it for, what? Money? Thrill? Some sick compulsion? What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that if you want more than just a confrontation, if you want accountability, you might consider involving her employer. Show them this footage. Let them decide how to handle it. Either way, your marriage is over. I'm sorry to be blunt, but that's the reality. The question is whether you want her to face professional consequences as well. The cold calculation in his words matched the ice forming in my chest. He was right. This wasn't just betrayal, it was brazen, reckless, and done while she was representing her employer at a professional conference. "Can you make copies of all the footage?" I can provide you with secure digital files. Yes. With timestamps and our system's authentication protocols. They'd hold up in any legal proceeding. Do it. The words came out harder than I intended. And yes, I want to see her. Now. But first, I need to make a phone call. I pulled out my phone and found the contact for Margaret Harrison, the CEO of Cascade Regional Medical Center. My wife had pointed her out at a hospital fundraiser 2 years ago. A stern woman with iron grey hair and a reputation for running the organization with absolute integrity. It was early, but executives like Margaret were always working. She answered on the third ring. This is Margaret Harrison. Ms. Harrison, this is David Matthews. I'm Lisa Matthews' husband. I apologize for calling so early, but I'm in Chicago at the Lexington Grand Hotel, and I have something urgent you need to see regarding your employees' conduct at the conference. There was a long pause. I'm listening. Margaret Harrison arrived at the hotel at 8:15 a.m., accompanied by James Weston, Cascade Regional's Director of Human Resources. Both looked like they'd dressed in a hurry, but their expressions were all business. Chen had set up the conference room adjacent to his office, and I sat waiting, the USB drive containing the footage in my pocket like a lead weight. Mr. Matthews, Margaret said, shaking my hand with a firm grip. These are serious allegations you've made. I need to see this evidence before we proceed. I handed Chen the drive. He loaded the files onto the conference room's display screen, and for the next 20 minutes, we watched in silence. Margaret's expression grew progressively darker. James took notes on his tablet, his jaw tight. When the final video ended, Margaret stood. How long have you known about this? Since midnight last night. I caught the red eye from Seattle. And you haven't confronted your wife yet? No. I wanted you to see this first. She nodded slowly. That took considerable restraint. Mr. Chen, is this footage authentic? Could it be manipulated? Our system includes blockchain verification for all recordings, Chen replied. Every frame is authenticated with encrypted timestamps. I can provide you with our technical documentation. This footage would hold up in any court. Margaret turned to James. What's our exposure here? Significant, he said grimly. We signed a professional conduct agreement with this hotel and the conference organizers. All attendees representing Cascade are expected to maintain professional standards. Whatever Ms. Matthews is doing here, and I think we can all make educated guesses, it's a clear violation. Additionally, our employment contracts include morality clauses for management-level staff. She's a senior administrator, Margaret said. This could reflect on the entire organization. It already has, Chen interjected. 3 different men, 3 different nights, all using an unsecured service entrance. If this becomes public knowledge, it raises questions about judgment, discretion, and professional integrity, all while representing your medical center at an industry conference. Margaret's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. The morning keynote starts in 40 minutes. Lisa is scheduled to moderate a panel this afternoon. She looked at me. Mr. Matthews, I appreciate you bringing this to my attention before it became a public incident. What outcome are you seeking? Honestly, I don't know. Yesterday morning, I thought I had a happy marriage. Now I'm watching my wife sneak men into her hotel room like she's running some kind of operation. I want answers. I want to know who those men are, what she's been doing, and how long this has been going on. Those are questions we share, Margaret said. Mr. Chen, what room is she in? 1847. I can escort you up. Please do. James, you're with me. Mr. Matthews, I won't prevent you from being present, but I want your word that you'll let us handle the professional aspects of this conversation. You're entitled to confront your wife about your marriage, but the employment issues are between Cascade and Ms. Matthews. Understood. We took the elevator to the 18th floor in tense silence. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. We walked down the hallway, the same hallway I'd watched on video, where 3 different men had walked to my wife's door. Chen knocked. Professional. Firm. Hotel security. Ms. Matthews. Please open the door. Silence. Then footsteps. The door opened, and there she was. My wife looked perfect, hairstyled, makeup applied, wearing a navy business suit I'd seen her wear to work dozens of times. Professional, competent, put together. The same woman who'd kissed me goodbye at the airport 4 days ago. Her eyes widened when she saw me, then darted to Margaret and James. The color drained from her face. David? What are you? She stopped, clearly registering the group standing in her doorway. Ms. Harrison? I don't understand. Inside, Lisa. Now, Margaret said, her voice like steel. We filed into the room. It was immaculate, bed made, no personal items scattered about. The only signs of occupation were a laptop on the desk and a suitcase in the corner. The black silk robe was nowhere to be seen. Sit down, Margaret commanded, pointing to the desk chair. My wife sat, her hands trembling slightly. I remained standing by the door, arms crossed, trying to keep my emotions in check. Margaret stood front and center, James beside her with his tablet. Chen positioned himself near the window, professional and detached. Lisa, Margaret began, you've been representing Cascade Regional Medical Center at this conference for the past 3 days. You're here in a professional capacity, funded by our organization's training budget, and expected to maintain the standards we require of all our senior administrators. Yes, of course, my wife said, her voice uncertain. I've attended all the sessions, I've been networking. Have you also been entertaining unauthorized visitors in your room? Multiple male visitors, late at night, using service entrances to avoid detection. The blood drained from her face completely now. What are you talking about? Chen spoke up. Our security system captured clear footage of 3 different men entering and exiting your room over the past 3 nights. Would you like to see it? No. The word came out as barely a whisper. She looked at me, her eyes pleading. David, I can explain. Can you? I said, my voice cold. Can you explain why 3 different men knocked on your door in the middle of the night? Why you were wearing a robe I've never seen? Why you kissed one of them goodbye at 3 in the morning? Tears started streaming down her face. It's not what it looks like. Then what is it? Margaret demanded. Because from where we're standing, it looks like you've been using a professional conference as cover for extremely inappropriate behavior. Behavior that violates your employment contract, the hotel's guest conduct policies, and every standard of professional ethics we hold at Cascade. My wife's hands covered her face. Her shoulders shook with sobs. But I felt nothing, no sympathy, no urge to comfort her. Just cold, hard betrayal. I need answers, I said quietly. Right now. Who were those men? She looked up at me through tears, mascara running down her cheeks. And in that moment, I saw something I'd never seen before in her eyes. Fear. They were clients, she whispered. The word hung in the air like poison gas. Clients. Clients for what? James asked, his pen poised over his tablet. My wife, Lisa, wiped at her tears, smearing her makeup further. I need to speak with a lawyer before I say anything else. That's your right, Margaret said coldly. But understand this. We have video evidence of multiple men entering and leaving your room across multiple nights while you were here representing our organization. We have records of you using company funds to attend this conference. Whatever you've been doing, it's already documented. The only question is whether you're going to tell us the truth, or whether we'll have to piece it together ourselves, and involve law enforcement. Law enforcement. Lisa's voice cracked. No, please. It's not illegal. It's just, God, I never wanted anyone to find out like this. Find out what? I demanded, stepping closer. What the hell have you been doing, Lisa? She took a shuddering breath. I've been providing companionship, high-end escort services, for the past 2 years. The room seemed to tilt. James actually gasped. Margaret's expression hardened to stone. You're a prostitute, I said, the word tasting like acid. It's not like that. It's sophisticated, discreet. These are wealthy businessmen who want company for dinner, conversation, someone elegant to be seen with. The physical aspect it's secondary. Secondary, I repeated numbly. I watched one of them leave your room at 3 in the morning. Lisa. What kind of conversation lasts until 3 a.m.? She couldn't meet my eyes. Some clients want more than just dinner companionship. Jesus Christ. I turned away, feeling physically ill. Margaret's voice cut through my nausea. Let me make sure I understand. You've been operating as a sex worker while simultaneously holding a senior administrative position at a hospital. A position that requires security clearance, handles sensitive patient information, and oversees departmental budgets. I kept them completely separate. Lisa protested. My work at Cascade was never affected. I always performed my duties. You used a professional medical conference as cover to meet clients. James interjected. How is that keeping them separate? These conferences were perfect opportunities. I'm traveling anyway, in nice hotels, surrounded by professionals. I could schedule appointments without anyone at home noticing. The conference provides a legitimate reason for being here. Home, I said bitterly, turning back to face her. You mean our home? Where I've been waiting faithfully while you're here screwing strangers for money. David, please. How much? The question came from Margaret. How much were you charging? Lisa hesitated. It varied. For a dinner companion, $2,000. 4 overnight stays, $5,000 to $10,000, depending on the client's requirements. The numbers made my head spin. $10,000? Per night. Sometimes more for special requests. Chen, who'd been quietly observing, spoke up. How did clients find you? Contact you? There's a service. An agency. They handle the vetting, the scheduling, the payment processing. Everything's done through encrypted apps and cryptocurrency. It's completely anonymous. Except it isn't, Margaret said sharply. Because you're on hotel security footage meeting these men. Your anonymity just evaporated. Those 3 men, I said, my voice shaking. Over 3 nights. That's potentially $30,000 you made while I thought you were at a conference learning about healthcare administration innovations. I was attending sessions during the day. I'm actually on a panel this afternoon about efficiency protocols. You're not going to be on any panel, Margaret interrupted. As of this moment, you're suspended from your position at Cascade Regional Medical Center, pending a full investigation. You will not return to the conference. You will not represent our organization in any capacity. And you will not set foot in our facilities until we've determined the full extent of this situation. You can't do that. I have rights. You have the right to legal representation, James said, tapping on his tablet. Which I strongly suggest you obtain immediately. We'll be conducting a comprehensive review of your employment history, your access to sensitive systems, your expense reports, and any potential conflicts of interest or breaches of patient confidentiality. I never breached patient confidentiality. Lisa stood up, her face flushed. I kept everything separate. My personal life never interfered with my professional responsibilities. Your personal life is sex work, Margaret said flatly. You hold a position of trust in a healthcare institution. You have access to sensitive information. You travel for work and apparently use those trips to meet paid clients. Do you not see how that creates massive liability for our organization? Not to mention, Chen added, you violated the hotel's guest conduct policies. I'll need to consult with our legal team, but you may be asked to vacate the premises. Lisa sank back into the chair, the fight draining out of her. This is going to destroy everything. You destroyed everything, I said quietly. You destroyed our marriage. You destroyed your career. You destroyed any trust anyone ever placed in you. And for what? Money? Thrills? What was worth throwing away 8 years? She looked up at me, tears streaming freely now. You don't understand. The money it was freedom. We were always scraping by, always worried about bills. This gave me control, power. These men, they valued me, they paid attention to me. I valued you. My voice rose despite my effort to stay calm. I worked 2 jobs to support us when you were finishing your master's degree. I was there through every promotion, every late night, every work crisis. And you're telling me that wasn't enough? That you needed strange men to pay you to feel valued? It wasn't about you. Everything about this is about me. About us. About the vows we took. I was shouting now, months or years of oblivious contentment curdling into rage. How many times? How many men? How many conferences that weren't really conferences? She didn't answer, just stared at her hands. I want a number, Lisa. How many? I don't know exactly. Maybe 40 or 50 over 2 years. The number hit like a physical blow. 50 men. While I'd been home, trusting her, believing her. Margaret's phone rang. She glanced at it. My attorney. I need to take this. She stepped out into the hallway, James following her. Chen moved toward the door. I'll give you 2 some privacy. But Mr. Matthews, I recommend you keep this brief. This isn't a conversation that will go anywhere productive right now. After they left, silence filled the hotel room. Lisa sat hunched in the chair, mascara streaked and broken. I stood by the window, looking out at Chicago's skyline without really seeing it. Somewhere in this city, 3 men had no idea they'd just blown up someone's life by visiting a hotel room. Say something, Lisa whispered finally. What is there to say? I turned to face her. You've been living a double life for 2 years. Every conference, every trip, every late-night work emergency. I'm assuming at least some of those were lies too. She nodded slowly. Not all of them. But yes, some. I'd add an extra day to conferences, or claim I needed to stay longer for meetings. It gave me more time with higher-paying clients. And at home? When you'd come back and kiss me hello, tell me about your boring sessions and networking dinners, were you laughing at me the whole time? No. God, no. I never thought of it that way. It was like I was 2 different people. The wife who loved you, and the other person who did this other thing. They weren't supposed to touch. But they did touch, Lisa. Every single day. Every time you lied to me, every time you used our marriage as cover for prostitution, they touched. You merged them yourself. She flinched at the word prostitution. The agency calls us luxury companions. Call it whatever you want. You sold your body for money while married to me. That's the reality. I moved to the bed, sitting on the edge because my legs felt unsteady. I need to know something, and I want the truth. Did you ever love me? Or was I just convenient cover for your real life? I did love you. I do love you. She reached toward me, but I pulled back. David, please. I know I've destroyed everything, but you have to believe that my feelings for you were real. The marriage was real. The marriage was a lie. Everything was a lie. Not everything. She wiped her eyes again. Those first 6 years, before I started this, those were real. I was happy. We were happy. Then why? Why would you risk all of that? She was quiet for a long moment, struggling for words. Do you remember when I didn't get the director position at Cascade 3 years ago? When they promoted Richard instead? Of course. You were devastated. I was furious. I'd worked so hard, done everything right, and they still chose him because he fit the culture better. Which meant he was a man who played golf with the board members. Her voice turned bitter. I realized that no matter how competent I was, there were limits to how far I could go, how much control I'd have over my own life. So you became an escort. A friend from grad school mentioned she'd tried it. Made incredible money, felt powerful, got to travel and meet interesting people. She made it sound exciting, liberating. I thought I'd try it once, just to see. 1 client, 1 dinner, easy money. And you couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop. That first client paid $3,000 for dinner and conversation. $3,000 for 4 hours. David. Do you know how long it took me to earn that at Cascade? The second time was even easier. Then I found the agency, and they handled everything: screening clients, security, payment. It felt safe, controlled. It wasn't controlled. Look where we are. I gestured around the room. Everything you built is gone. Your job, your reputation, your marriage. Was the money worth it? She started crying again, harder this time. I don't know. At the time, it felt like yes. I had secret accounts, savings you didn't know about. I was planning. I don't know what I was planning. Maybe I thought I could do this for a few more years and then stop. Retire early. Tell you I'd made good investments. And now? Now I've lost everything that actually mattered. She looked at me with red, swollen eyes. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even expect you to understand. But I need you to know that I never meant to hurt you. I thought I could keep these lives separate. You couldn't. You can't. That's not how reality works, Lisa. A knock at the door interrupted us. Margaret and James returned, both looking grim. Ms. Matthews, Margaret said formally, Cascade Regional Medical Center is placing you on immediate administrative leave pending the outcome of our investigation. You're required to surrender your building access credentials, your work laptop, and any company property in your possession. You're also prohibited from contacting any Cascade employees except through your attorney. You're firing me. We're following protocol for serious ethics violations. The investigation will determine the final outcome, but I think we both know where this is heading. Margaret's expression softened slightly. Lisa, I've known you for 5 years. You were one of my most promising administrators. I genuinely don't understand how you thought this could end any other way. I thought I wouldn't get caught. Most people who do stupid things think that, James muttered. Chen stepped forward. Ms. Matthews, the hotel management has also made a decision. Given the violation of our guest conduct policies, we're asking you to check out immediately. We're not pressing charges, but you're no longer welcome on the property. I need time to pack. You have 1 hour, Chen said firmly. A security escort will accompany you to ensure there are no further incidents. The next hour passed in a blur. Lisa packed her belongings while a hotel security guard stood by the door. Margaret and James left after confirming when Lisa would return their company property. I helped her pack mechanically, years of habit overriding the devastation I felt. We didn't speak. What was there to say? When her suitcase was finally closed, Lisa turned to me one last time. What happens now? Now I go home and file for divorce. You'll be hearing from my attorney. David. Don't. Just don't. I picked up my own bag. I'll arrange to get my things from the house while you're out. I don't want to see you again unless we absolutely have to. I'm so sorry. I know. But sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't give me back 2 years of my life. Sorry doesn't undo 50 men. I walked to the door, then paused. I hope the money was worth it, Lisa. I really do. Because it cost you everything else. I walked out of room 1847 and didn't look back. 3 months later, I sat in my attorney's office signing the final divorce papers. The settlement was simple. We were splitting everything evenly, though I'd negotiated to keep the house. Lisa hadn't fought it. She couldn't afford to draw out the proceedings. The investigation at Cascade had been thorough and damning. They discovered she'd used company travel budgets to extend trips for client meetings, used her work phone to coordinate with the agency, and potentially violated HIPAA regulations by accessing hospital systems while simultaneously maintaining relationships with clients who could have presented conflicts of interest. She'd been terminated for cause, losing her pension and benefits. The agency she'd worked with had disappeared after several media outlets ran stories about high-end escort services targeting business conferences. Lisa's name wasn't published, but enough details leaked that her professional reputation was destroyed. My attorney slid the final papers across the desk. Once the judge signs these, you're officially divorced. How are you holding up? I'm better, I said honestly. Therapy helps. So does knowing the truth, as horrible as it is. Any regrets about how you handled it? I thought about that early morning in Chicago, standing in Chen's security office watching my world implode on video screens. No. She made her choices. I just exposed them. If I hadn't found out, she'd still be doing it. You could have confronted her privately, tried to work it out. And spend the rest of my life wondering when she'd do it again? No. Some betrayals are too fundamental. This wasn't a mistake or a moment of weakness. This was 2 years of calculated deception. I signed the papers and stood. Besides, the people at her hospital deserved to know who they had in a position of trust. The conference attendees deserved to know their professional environment was being exploited. Truth matters, even when it's ugly. Leaving the attorney's office, I felt lighter than I had in months. The betrayal still hurt, probably would for years, but I was free. Free from the lies, from the double life I'd unknowingly been part of, from a marriage that had been hollow at its core. My phone buzzed. A text from my sister. Papers signed? Come over for dinner. You need family tonight. I smiled and headed for my car. The future was uncertain, but it was mine. And this time, I'd build it on truth, no matter how difficult that truth might be.